Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is David and I am your meditation teacher this morning. We're going to learn a very simple yet powerful meditation practice this morning. But before we begin, I'd like to find out why you're interested in learning about meditation.
I've heard meditation is a really good tool to help you learn how to focus and stay calm throughout your day, and those are two things that I feel like I need help with.
Excellent. Great.
I heard meditation helps with stress, and I need to better my stress release.
Yeah, very good. Yes, don't we all? So, excellent. Well, meditation certainly has proven through scientific study as well as centuries of practitioners' statements that it can definitely calm you and definitely helps with stress. The reason I meditate is somewhat similar, and it's to sort of move beyond the protective self, all those protective structures you have that sort of stress you out, to get to a deeper place. So the definition of meditation that we're going to use for today's class is disconnecting from the five senses to be focused and present on the deeper self. So that's the definition of meditation that I use, and it will be kind of the basis of our practice. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and make sure that we're in the proper posture. Posture is incredibly important. So I'd like you to go ahead and adjust yourselves. I know you're all sitting cross-legged, and there's a few really important points here as you're sitting in your meditation. One, you can certainly sit in a chair. Many people do. They find that that's much easier. You can sit cross-legged as you are doing, or you can sit on a meditation cushion or a meditation stool. So there's a variety of different ways to sit. But the posture I'm going to be outlining here is good for all of those. So a couple points. One, as you're sitting, you want to make sure that your knees, as you're cross-legged, your knees are not above your hip bones. And the reason being is you want to make sure that you're not cutting off any blood flow, that you're not going to get any cramps. So if your knees are not below your hip bones, you want to make sure that you're adding another cushion or a blanket to make sure that is the case. The second thing you want to do is make sure that your spine is straight and upright. And so that's just, and you don't want to make it to where it's unnatural or uncomfortable. You just want to go ahead and make sure that you're sitting upright and straight with your spine. And then with your chin, you want to make sure it's parallel with the floor. You don't want to be looking up or looking down. You want to make sure that it's just on the normal plane, parallel with the floor. Now your palms, I'm sure you've seen a variety of different meditation techniques where palms are located in different areas. For this particular meditation practice, we're actually going to place the palms at the intersection of our thigh and our pelvis, like this. And you're just going to have nice relaxed palms. So, if it's feeling a little uncomfortable, again, just make some adjustments. You don't want to be uncomfortable in your meditation practice, but you do want to be alert. One of the common misunderstandings about meditation is that meditation is a sort of quieting and sometimes falling into a slumber or a sleep. And that is absolutely not the case with meditation. Meditation is actually a very alert practice. And so if we're kind of slumped over and we're kind of hanging our head, what's going to happen? In many cases, we'll fall asleep. Now, sleep is great and rest is good, but that's not meditation. Meditation is actually a very alert, very attentive practice, and that's what we're going to practice today. So posture is very important. Now, when we meditate, we're going to make sure that our eyelids are gently closed, and we're going to be focused on what we call the third eye or the spiritual eye, and that is the location right between the eyebrows. And so as we practice and go into our meditation, you want to make sure you're gazing at that point. And you might find yourself, certainly as beginning practitioners, you'll find yourself, gazing straight ahead or sometimes gazing down. That's common. And so when you find yourself doing that, just gently move your eyes back to that location, the third eye between your eyebrows. Okay? So, any questions on posture? No? Okay. So, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate a couple techniques. Now, first of all, the Hong Sau meditation practice that we are going to practice today is an ancient practice that has been, people have been meditating with it for centuries. So it's a well-proven technique. It's very simple. It's very powerful. But there's a few steps that are very important. Number one, meditation requires us to enter into a period of relaxation. The second phase is concentration, and the third phase is expansion. So again, there's a misconception with meditation at times that you're just sitting down and doing nothing. Well, that isn't really the case. We're doing something, and we're doing something very important and very powerful. And so I'd like to go ahead and demonstrate the first step of meditation, which is relaxation. And relaxation involves relaxing the mind and relaxing the body. And the way we do that in the Hong Sau method is two different breath practices. The first one is called a tense and release, or a tense and relax double breath. And what that is intended to do is to bring in a breath, tense the body, and relax the body. This is relaxing the body. So I'm going to demonstrate how that works. What you do with the double breath, the tense and release breath, is breathe 2 sharp breaths through the nostrils, hold, tensing the entire body, and then releasing in 2 very long exhales through the mouth. And it looks like this. Tense. And release. So let's go ahead and practice that. So go ahead and sit in your upright position. Go ahead and breathe in. Hold and tense. And release. One more time. Breathe in 2 sharp breaths. Hold. Tense. And release. Very good. Okay, the second breath that we're going to practice is equal count breathing. Now, what's important with this breath is that we are breathing in on the inhale with a certain count, and for beginners it's important to do start with the count of 4, and as you begin to practice more you can increase that depending on what works for you. But today we're going to practice it on the count of 4. So you're going to breathe in through the nose slowly to the count of 4, and I'll snap my fingers as we practice so we can keep time together. Then you're going to hold after 4 counts of the in-breath, and you're going to hold your breath for 4 counts. And then you're going to release the breath for 4 counts. Okay? And I will go ahead and demonstrate that now, and then we'll go ahead and practice that. And then we'll move into the concentration stage of meditation. So, equal count breathing, the count of 4. Inhale. Hold. And release. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice together. Posture is your upright spine, your chin is level with the floor. Let's take an inhale, slow inhale through the nose on the count of 4. hold, and release. Let's do it one more time. Slowly inhale. Hold. And release. Okay, open your eyes. So those are the 2 breaths that we'll actually practice as we go through the entire meditation here in a few moments. Any questions on the relaxation phase of our meditation practice with the breath? No? Okay. So let's talk about the concentration stage. Now the concentration stage is actually utilizing a mantra. And the mantra we're using in the practice today is the Hong Sa mantra. Now Hong Sa is a Sanskrit term that can be translated as I am spirit. And it is a very sacred mantra that is used in India and throughout the world. And it is proven to be a very good concentration technique. And that's what we're going to use today. And it really is very simple. What we do when we move into concentration is, again, we're going to maintain our upright posture, maintain our alertness. We're going to be focusing on the third eye again with our eyes gently closed. And we are going to be breathing naturally. We're not going to be controlling our breath in any way, adjusting our breath in any way. You're just going to breathe naturally. Fairly easy, right? And what we're going to do is attach the mantra to our breathing. So when we breathe in, we are going to mentally repeat Hong. And as we release the breath naturally, we are going to mentally repeat Sa. So it's Hong, Sa, Hong, Sa. Okay, very gentle. If you find yourself controlling and trying to adjust your breath, again, remember that it's to be natural. And the mantra is attached to your breath. It's not pulling your breath. It's not guiding your breath. The mantra is just attached to it. It's sort of following it, okay? And if you find your mind is starting to wander, again, bring it back to the third eye. Bring it back to watching the breath. But again, not controlling the breath. Okay. Another element that can assist as you're doing this breath is to use your index finger to follow your breath. So as you're mentally repeating Hong on the inhale, you can move your index finger up gently, and on the release, Sa, just moving it back down. It's as if there's a string attached to your nostrils, and as you're breathing in, it's pulling your finger, and as you're releasing, it's dropping your finger. Now this can be helpful. It's optional, but it can be helpful for people who are very kinesthetic. So feel free to use that as you see fit. Okay. What we're going to do as we finish up the concentration phase is enter into the final stage of meditation, which is expansion. Now this is the moment of deep stillness, of quietness. And at this point, and I will cue you with this as we go through our mini practice in a few moments. The purpose of this is to let go of, the purpose of this is to connect with your deeper self, or God, or that deep sense of stillness and calm that we all strive for, and that deep sense of peace. And the method of doing that is to then release now the awareness of the breath. So you're no longer going to be following the breath, and you're no longer going to be repeating the mantra mentally. So you're completely clearing your mind from following anything and being in a moment of stillness. And the way I'll cue that in our practice is we'll take a deep breath and then we will exhale with 3 steps. And at that third final step, gently releasing your final exhale, you'll just rest there momentarily breathless. Now, don't panic. If you need to breathe, feel free to breathe. But you're just spending a brief moment without breath, in a moment of complete stillness. And then, of course, you'll get back to breathing normally as your body requires it. But make sure you're not trying to follow the breath or use mantra. Okay? So, any questions on the 3 steps of meditation? Relaxation, concentration, expansion. No?
If at the end you find that the busyness comes back, do you just stay with the busyness, or do you go back to one of the earlier techniques?
You mean after your meditation practice? Or
In the quiet part, like if you're not quiet when you get there.
yeah. No, just all you need to do, and there's other methods we can go over, and we will go over in other courses. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll use a focus on one of the aspects of God. So love, peace, and they begin to focus on that aspect, and they'll sort of rest in that. So there are ways to sort of go back to it. There's affirmations that are used at times. But again, we're not going to utilize that in this particular practice. The best, I think, way of reconnecting and getting into a space is to begin to focus again on the third eye. Take a breath and fall back into that stillness. Going back into concentration, I mean, it is certainly something one can do, but you don't want that to be your full practice. You want to move into expansion. Okay? Now, with that concentration phase where you're following the breath, you're using the mantra, that for beginners is oftentimes 75% of your time as you're sitting in practice. And then the expansion is about 25% of your time. As you meditate more and more, you find your concentration phase using the mantra and the breath begins to shorten, and you spend longer periods of time in that deep stillness. And that's where the peace and that great sense of calm comes into your life in a much deeper way. Okay? So let's go ahead and practice. This is going to be very brief. So we're not going to, typically I meditate for about 20 to 30 minutes in this practice. This is only going to be a few minutes. Okay? It's just to get you comfortable with how this works. All right, so let's go ahead and get in our proper posture. Go ahead and move the spine straight. Make sure your knees are below your hip bones. Make sure your palms are comfortably lying between your pelvis and thigh bone. And go ahead and have move your chin a little bit. There we go, parallel with the floor. And gently close your eyes. Just begin to breathe. Now you're going to want to gaze at that location between the eyebrows, that third eye that we talked about. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the tense and relaxation breath. And we're going to do this 3 times. So let's go ahead and take 2 sharp inhales and hold. Tense. And release. Again. Tense. And release. more time. Inhale twice. And release. Okay, take a couple natural breaths. Now we're going to move into our equal count breathing. And we'll inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, and exhale for 4 counts. And we will do this 3 times. I will snap my fingers to keep us on count. So go ahead and slowly inhale. Hold. And release. Again, inhale. Hold. And release. One more time. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. Now gently breathe and just naturally, not controlling the breath, not holding the breath in any way. Just breathe naturally, with your gaze gently focused on the third eye between the eyebrows. Now begin to attach the mantra to the breath. On the inhale, mentally repeating Hong, and on the exhale, mentally repeating Sa. Hong, Sa. exhale in 3 steps, resting in that brief, breathless moment on the 3rd step. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep inhale, deep long exhale. And as we enter back into normal breath, our normal daily awareness, I encourage you to gently open your eyes, come back to the room. So that is the basic Hung Sa meditation technique.